All right. What's going on, everyone? We are live. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the stream. My name's Odum, and what we do here, of course, is we get together and we live stream our process as we try to figure out how we're going to build ourselves a company which is going to generate us $1 million in revenue every single year. And as the title suggests, there's going to be some changes coming to this live stream and how I'm going to be approaching doing these live streams and how we're going to be interacting together. And more importantly, or probably the most important thing to me, is how can I make sure that this live stream is going to deliver the value that you obviously, I guess, want for coming in here and that I want to actually deliver to you guys. So we're going to talk all about that. And I want to see if oh, there we go. Get some sound coming into my headphones. Okay. So as usual, I prepared a little bit of a presentation. So we're going to go over this presentation and yeah, just talk very briefly about how things are going to be changing, why I'm changing it, and my initial ideas of what I want to do. And of course, my ask for you guys to give me the feedback for what you're going to be looking for, what you would like to see in the show moving forward. So, all right. So why do I even want to change the format of this live stream in the first place? So initially, when I first started, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down every single day. We're going to build a web design company and we're going to build Webflow components, whatever. So we're just going to sit down on live stream and we're just going to go ahead and build the thing and we're going to see how things go. And that was great while that was kind of the business that we were doing. But now that things have switched into this new kind of like the business has kind of morphed and pivoted into these different things, the live stream doesn't seem to quite fit anymore. So as I said, so the goal now of the business is, the goal is still to build $1 million company, but it's now kind of a media company, not a web design company. And of course, I'm doing two different things, right? So number one, I have a podcast called Unconventional Mindset, and we want to grow that into the number one personal development / business podcast here in Canada, right? And then we have Pixel, which is the studio that we have right here just right here where I'm building right now. And I want that to be like the best studio, the most premium, the best service, the best everything, but also the reasonably priced content creation studio in like all of Eastern Canada. So, I mean, obviously all of Canada would be great, but people aren't going to fly in here, from Vancouver to come do a show, right? But Eastern Canada, whatever, serving, the four provinces or whatever, people can kind of come in and come here and record the content. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want to build. And this live stream right now just doesn't really fit into those two objectives. Like doing this live stream doesn't help me grow the podcast necessarily, doesn't really help me grow my studio because I'm not talking about kind of studio stuff. So it's really it's a little bit removed. So I just need to really kind of rework what the goal of this podcast or the live stream, I should say, is and how I want to approach how it's going to fit into everything that I'm doing. Right. As an example with the business right now, I'm getting pretty close to the point where I want to hire and bring on my first employee. I mean, it's probably going to be like contract stuff here at first, I would imagine. But anyways, so there's all these little things that I know I need to work on in my business. And how do I incorporate the trials and tribulations that I'm having? Tribulations? I don't know how to say it. But I'm just trying to figure out how do I talk about that stuff in the live stream in a way that's going to help you as an aspiring business owner or a new business owner or whatever journey you're on with your own company, right? So how can I share that information of what I'm learning so that there's something of value for you as well? So I'm trying to figure out how all this stuff is going to fit in and really just kind of make sense. So how do I think it's going to change? So my podcast, it's called Unconventional Mindset. The whole thing about the why I even want to do in the first place is because I want to learn from people that I think are really interesting, that are very successful, or that I know that I could learn a lot from this person. So I want to talk to them. And the people that we've talked to so far have dropped a lot of really, really good nuggets of wisdom and information. And I've been taking it and applying it into my company. And I would like to figure out how I can actually showcase what I'm learning and how I'm applying it how I'm applying it into my company and what results I'm actually getting from it, because I don't see anybody who's really kind of doing this. Like, people have guests on their podcast and they talk about stuff and give advice or whatever. And that's really cool. You as an individual, you just go off and do your thing and improve your life in that way. Fantastic, right? But to document and show, like, for me, what I'm doing and how it's leading to my growth in my business or myself or whatever, it would be really cool to be able to showcase that. So I want to figure out how I can tell these stories of my progression as I talk to more and more people and as I incorporate the things that they're teaching me and that I'm learning from them into my business. So I need to figure out how to do that. And what I put here at the bottom here is, here's what I know so far. I need more time to be able to put this information together, like doing it every day or even once a week. I don't have enough time to digest the stuff that I've done in like a 1 week span and put it into an actionable insights and presentation and all that kind of stuff, just mixed in with all the other stuff that I'm doing, because I want to grow the podcast to, at least having one guest consistently a week, starting probably in September, because summer is moving along pretty fast here. And if I'm going to be at that pace, for every guest, it's about 2 days worth of work to kind of do, which is one of the reasons why I want to get help in here quickly for editing, because that takes up a good chunk of time as well. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing in the business to try to grow the business and work on the business, that it's very difficult for me to find the time to put together all the stuff that I want to put together to bring value to you in this live stream. So I need more time in between episodes to make sure that I can deliver that value. And that's what I just kind of said that in the second point there. I need to make sure that these live streams have value, and there's a reason why you'd want to watch that. Cause like, wow, I want to learn how you did this with your sales funnel, or I want to learn what mistakes you made, or how you're hiring a person and how you're working remotely, or things that you're doing in your company that are going to help you, establish how people are going to work together, or how I'm putting systems in place, all those kinds of things. Right. So, and the things that I cover on each live stream, I want them to be either actionable, where you can take them and try them out in your business or your whatever it is that you're doing, or at least it's something that's educational. It's like, oh, okay, I learned that, so maybe I could keep that in the back of my mind. If you see me, trying some type of new, a new ad campaign or something like that, and then and I can show you the results of how it worked or whatever, and what the results were from it, and then you can use that information, in your next ad campaign or something like that, right? So, anyways, just values is like, I don't know, is the word of the day today. I want to make sure that I'm bringing value to you guys. And with that being said, too, I have it written down here. More focus and more clarity into like why I'm doing these streams in the first place, right? So again, when I'm just doing web design stuff and we're just building Webflow components and all that stuff, when we're having the web design company, it was easy to just turn on the camera, just live stream. Hey, we're just building today. We're having a good time. We're having chats and whatever. And that was really, really cool. And I enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well too. But there wasn't really much focus on the day to day, and you never really knew what I was going to be live streaming on, right? So this way, if I treat it more like a really important show, in a sense, that it's going to help me really tell a better story. And like I said, what I want is for that every episode to like build upon the previous one and to tell one overarching story of, the journey of whatever, of building this business, right? Of making Pixel become this $1 million company. And my whole vision when I first started this is to, again, showcase all the stuff behind the scenes of what it takes to build a company that's, a $1 million company or whatever, right? So yeah, I want to tell that story, and I want to figure out how to tell it well as well too, right? And not just be random strings of live streams that are just me working away on Webflow or whatever the case might be, right? So I'm not sure 100% yet how I'm going to do this and exactly what it's going to look like. But what I can say is that I'm thinking of having the live stream once a month. And this way, if it's once a month, I could really focus on specific things in an episode. So experimentation. I learned this from talking to Ross Simmons a couple podcasts ago. And he talks about always be experimenting in your business. And when I used to work at Shopify as well too, it was always about doing things and shipping things and seeing what results you kind of get with the data that your experiment is generating. And if I could spend like a good amount of time putting together what an experiment is, outlining all the steps I'm taking to run the experiment, and then looking at the actual results, the analytics of that experiment, and see how it moved the needle in a specific part of my business, diving deep into something like that, I think would be really cool. And I think that would be something that could be of value to you guys, because it's something that could be actionable, something that people could take from what I've learned and what I've done and apply it into their own business, right? Like as an example, if I say, okay, this month, say I'm going to make 200 cold calls or whatever the case may be, record them, see what results I got from all those cold calls, and see, if I got any business, whatever the case may be, right? So that's just kind of a silly example kind of off the top of my head, but you can think of experiments of talking about how I'm going to modify the sales funnels, or how I'm going to ask for different call to actions within the YouTube videos, or what I'm going to be doing on social media in terms of how I'm going to craft my content and when I'm going to be posting them. All those kinds of experiments to see what changes and what doesn't change within the business. And then do a deep dive on the analytics that we're getting in the business as well. I mean, there's website analytics, there's podcast analytics, but there's also even further than that is looking at how people are moving through my sales funnel, because it's going to be social media content, YouTube videos, the educational content for, how to podcast, all that kind of stuff. People landing on the website, either signing up to the newsletter to learn more about podcasting, or they can go straight to booking time into the studio, whatever the case may be, right? Analyzing the sales funnel and looking where people are dropping off, looking at ways that we can improve it. And is there anything we need to do to build maybe specific software to help with the whole sales funnel and getting people to check out and all that kind of stuff. So all those kinds of things to really dive deep into that, because I think a lot of businesses struggle with optimizing their sales funnel and optimizing how people go from not hearing about the business to like an actual customer. Like there's that whole process. And if it's running like a well-oiled machine, I mean, that's what you want, right? So, and then you understand it so well that, if you just crank this little lever here to put more people in this side, and more people will just come out on the other side, then that's when everything is working so beautifully within your business, right? Like you have the offer is on point, you have the leads that are coming in that are on point, and then you have the delivery of the actual product on point. Like all these different things go into having that smooth process. And we can talk so much about that in terms of what I do, even when someone's coming to the studio to record a podcast, how I meet them at the door, get them up with the coffee, and they have snacks and all kinds of things that I do. So that's all part of the whole sales funnel. So we'll talk a lot about that as well too. And then we can talk about the finances as well of the business. I mean, that's an important thing. How much money is the company making? How much is it spending? What are the projections? All that kind of stuff. So it's almost as if every month could be this overview of how the business is doing, and do a dive into one key experiment or one key thing that we're trying to improve upon within the business to make it run better, right? So what I have an area of concern that I kind of wrote down here is that from you guys, like I want to know and I want to figure out how I can have more participation / interaction between you guys, and how I could really deliver value to you guys, depending on what it is that you might be looking for. And I think if I'm going to be moving into doing a live stream once a month, then I would like to have more touch points in terms of being able to interact. So that could just be like even just going on Twitter or on X, or setting up a Discord, or whatever the case may be, to just have conversations and just talk to people and figure out what it is that other people are working on, and figure out what are the things that I can do to help people or whatever. And then maybe through doing those types of communications and interactions, then there's ways for people to anticipate what's going to be happening next on the next live stream. As an example, if people are really having a hard time, in a specific part of their sales funnel, it's like, oh, I'm having a really big problem with customizing my drip campaigns for the people that initially sign up to my newsletter, and I want to send out, the automated emails or whatever, and I'm running through problems where no one's moving through, or whatever the case may be. then that's something we could like, okay, well, let's run an experiment in the business, see what we can do, and then go through all those things in my business, and then on the live stream discuss it and talk about it, right? And then people could ask questions or whatever, and we can go over those kinds of things, right? So again, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, but it's something that I would love to be able to have more interaction from you guys, because I mean, really at the end of the day too is I'm doing this because I want to help other people. I want all the mistakes and the stuff that I make trying to build this company to at least put it out there so that, you know, other people can just fast track. You guys can just fast track what you're doing as well too, and you know, not make the same mistakes I have or learn from the mistakes that I'm making. So yeah, so I'd love to figure out how to do that. So that's the stuff that I'm really thinking about. So as I said, definitely looking for feedback. So if you have any feedback watching this video, leave a comment, leave a chat, whatever the case may be. Love to hear what you think and what you would love to see in a live stream like this going forward. And through my newsletter. So I just have it here. I think it's in the comment below or in the description or whatever, a link to my website to just subscribe to the newsletter if you want to. And that's where I'm going to be like reaching out to my subscribers saying, hey, listen, I know you're obviously subscribed because you're interested in business and this journey. What is it that you would love to see, you know, on the live stream, and that would, you know, be of interest to you or provide value to you, right? So yeah, so that's basically where I'm at and what I'm thinking about on this live stream. So I just wanted to put that out there because I'm trying to switch my screen here. 1 second. Yeah, I just wanted to, oh man, I'm not in focus. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because I think for right now, I think it's probably going to be a little while until my next live stream, until I figure this thing out and figure out where it's going to be heading. So yeah, so because you're not going to see me, and it's not because I'm not live streaming anymore or whatever, or because something bad happened to me. Hopefully nothing bad happens to me, but it's just because I'm just trying to figure out exactly what this live stream is going to look like. And I'm also moving forward into creating a whole lot more content as well for Pixel. So that's going to be something that's, you know, if you're really looking to see me, you can definitely see me there. So that's pretty much all that I have for today. So thank you. I see there's a few people that have been popping in here. Thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate that. And again, if there's any comments or whatever you have, just leave them now or later or what have you. I'd really love to hear what you think. And that is going to be it for me. And there are going to be a couple new podcasts that are going to be, I'm filming them starting next week. So there's going to be new episodes coming shortly. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be really good. Having great conversations. So it's really awesome. So hopefully you guys are going to like that. All right. Now I can tell it's the point where I'm starting to ramble. So I should probably stop. But Victor, keep hustling, bro. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for joining. Always loving the hustle. And I think too, it's one thing to keep in mind. And I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this, and it kind of makes a lot of sense to me, is that, you know, hustling is good, and it's good to like work really hard for the things that you want. But I think you also just have to work really smart as well too, because I feel like if you're working really smart on something, that is so much better than spending twice as much time just working for the sake of working and not really moving forward, right? So, and I think that's the realization personally that I came to, is that I'm putting a lot of work into these live streams, but they're not moving the needle forward in the way that I would want it to, based on the changes that have happened over the past couple of years running this business, right? So it's just figuring that out and figuring out, you know, get back into the right lane and making sure that you're moving forward towards that ultimate goal of, you know, building that $1 million business. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Work hard, not smart. And if you can combine the smart with hard, then I guess that's like the gold mine, right? It's like you figure out exactly what works, and then you just double down on that and just plow forward, and then go from there. And I really feel we're getting very close to the cusp on Pixel of having things kind of click and start putting things together, and then just kind of take off, right? Especially with this client that I'm working now, you know, doing 6 podcast episodes for them. Super excited and pumped about that. And, you know, yeah, I don't know. There's more people that are kind of knocking on the door, so it's exciting, and things are starting to kind of click. So it's really cool. So we're just gonna have to figure it out and then full steam ahead. So looking forward to that. Anyways, but thank you, Victor. I really appreciate that. Great for you stopping by. And I'm having some bubbly here. This is kind of a bad idea. I was thirsty before I live streamed, and then having like carbonated water. That's not the greatest idea. So hopefully I don't like burp or anything. Carrots, that's kind of gross. But I think I'm pretty much wrapped up here. Anyways, all right, just seeing if there's anything else that's going to be popping up here. So, all right. Okay. So I'm done. I think I'm done now. Unless there's any comments that come through. So as always, I really appreciate you guys joining and tuning in. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Have yourself a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week. And I don't know when I'm going to be back here next. I would imagine it's probably going to be at least a month. But as I said, hit up like the website below in the description below and sign up to the newsletter, and then we could touch base that way, or just find me on social media or whatever. I don't know, all that fun stuff. And I'm sure we'll catch up and see each other at some point. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one, and good night. I appreciate that, and we'll see you next time. All right, take care.